Hello, this is Buono. Today, I would like to introduce essential items for those who are just starting with electronics projects, divided into 4 categories. If you're unsure about what to buy, please refer to this video for guidance. The first thing you need is a computer. When working on electronics projects, you will be programming things like CPUs or microcontrollers, and in most cases, this will be done using a computer. However, you don't need a high-spec computer. Even one from 10 years ago should work just fine. Moreover, many programming software tools now support various operating systems, so whether you use Windows or Mac, either will be perfectly suitable for beginners in electronics. Just be aware that certain older operating systems might not support the installation of these tools, so proceed with caution. If you absolutely cannot obtain a computer, devices like Sony's mesh or microcontroller boards specialized for IoT, such as Omnis, allow you to perform simple electronics projects directly from a smartphone. Next, you will need components. As I explained in this video, electronic devices consist of an input, a calculation process, and an output, so you will need components corresponding to each of these functions. For the calculation component, you'll be using something known as a microcontroller board, which is a microcontroller package with convenient features for electronics projects. If you are buying your first microcontroller for an electronics project, you can't go wrong with an Arduino. The components used for input and output come in a vast variety of types and will change significantly depending on what you want to accomplish. If you don't have a specific project in mind yet, I suggest starting with a beginner's kit from a manufacturer like Elegoo or Osoyo, which you can find on Amazon. Although the microcontroller boards included in these kits are unique to each manufacturer, they are based on the same microcontrollers and interfaces as Arduino, so you can use them in much the same way. There is no need to worry about the difference. You can operate them just like an Arduino. Next, you will need tools. The essential tools to have on hand include a breadboard, wire cutters, tweezers, a wire stripper, and needle nose pliers. These tools are used for tasks such as cutting cables to the proper length, connecting wires, and gripping small components. Since electronics projects often involve detailed work, having these specialized tools will make your tasks much easier and less frustrating. You should also get a soldering kit. A soldering kit typically includes a soldering iron, solder, a soldering stand, and desoldering braid. Depending on what you are soldering, the optimal temperature may vary, so it's recommended to get a soldering iron with adjustable temperature settings. For solder, environmentally friendly lead-free solder is a good choice, and for the soldering stand, choose one with a stable base to prevent it from tipping over easily, as cheaper stands tend to do. In addition, it is advisable to get a storage case for organizing your components. Since many components are small and difficult to identify at a glance, it's best to categorize and store them early on to avoid confusion later. There are countless options for storage cases, so choose one that suits your preference. You can find good ones at 100 yen shops or choose from dozens of options at larger home improvement stores. Personally, I use storage cases from Muji and organize the components by placing them in transparent small bags sorted by category. Lastly, I'd like to introduce the essential measuring equipment. This is the area where you might end up spending the most money, but for starters, just having a multimeter should be sufficient. A multimeter can measure voltage, current, and resistance, among other things, making it an invaluable tool for various aspects of electronics projects. You can find a good multimeter for around 3,000 yen. I plan to introduce how to use a multimeter in another video. As a bonus, I'd like to introduce a few items that are not essential but can be quite handy to have. First, there's the oscilloscope. An oscilloscope is a measuring device that allows you to monitor voltage in real time. While you can also check voltage with a multimeter only shows an average value over time and cannot capture short voltage changes. For example, if you output a 1 kHz pulse ranging from 0 to 3.3 V, a multimeter will show an average value of 1.65 V, but with an oscilloscope, you can actually see the waveform. Even though a good oscilloscope costs several tens of thousands of yen, it is extremely useful when it comes to verifying the operation of your circuits. Another useful item is a stabilized power supply. When working on electronics projects, you may occasionally want to perform small experiments, such as running a motor or observing how the brightness of an LED changes with different voltages. Microcontroller boards often have output terminals that can supply power externally, but these typically provide fixed voltages like 5V or 3.3V, and the amount of current they can supply is usually very limited. making them unsuitable for such tasks. In such cases, a stabilized power supply is extremely valuable, as it allows you to freely adjust the voltage and provide larger currents as needed. In this video, I focused on introducing the essential items for those who are just starting with electronics projects. Of course, the items you need may vary depending on what you want to create, but the ones I introduced here are useful in almost any situation, so be sure to have them on hand. I have included a table with the model names and purchase sources in the description, so please refer to it when making your purchases. I have prepared two options, one for those who are budget conscious and another for those who prefer higher quality items. That's all for today. On this channel, we post videos that explain the essential knowledge and tools beginners in electronics projects should acquire, offering a comprehensive learning experience from the very basics. If you are just starting with electronics projects, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We also welcome your comments and likes on this video. Wishing you a wonderful experience with your electronics projects.